Go live button. And we are live.
From the industrial wastelands of Michigan to the fruited plains of Iowa, this is the American Read.
You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are. Make no move until you are ordered.
We burn them to ashes and then burn the ashes. That's our official motto.
Now we continue. Clasp your hands behind your heads. Stand out in the middle of the room. Stand back to back.
Who can explain the fascination of fire? What draws us to it, whether we're young or old?
Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
And welcome to the American Greed Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
And this is Conlon.
Tonight we have a great show for you. 2020, the year of continuous happiness. It evolves in new ways. New buzzword for this week in the news, Corona riot. Now we're going to talk about everything all at once. Coronavirus is back. Rioting in the streets, civil unrest. Trump, will you unify us?
No.
Will you completely change, go in an entirely different direction? You know, it was even indicated as a candidate. Not willing to bet that's going to happen. But they still write like editorials, like this should be Trump's moment to unify us. It's like, yeah, my moment to do the pentathlon, but neither of these things are going to happen. So.
Well, I've said like he could be the best president because he obviously doesn't give a shit. So he could just change whatever he wants, but for some reason, he apparently gives a shit what the Republican Party wants him to do.
Well, he could be that guy because he doesn't give a shit, but the stuff he's willing to do is bad. He's not the guy who, I don't care, I'm going to do this based on principle. No, he's going to do whatever is seemingly the most destructive choice. And somehow he doesn't see it that way, which is weird. No, this is right. This is what people want to hear.
Well, as long as the stock market goes up, then everything he's doing is great.
Yeah, because that makes sense to everyone. Stock market goes up, there's very good reasons. The stock market goes down, it's just panic. Huh? It's what you're just telling yourself what you want to hear?
Yeah, I saw something that was like making fun of how wild the stock market is, and like everyone's saying it's a bear market, and then some people saying no, it's a bull market, and now they've just kind of decided to call it a kangaroo market.
It's a dragon market.
What's a dragon market?
I don't know. I'm just making shit up.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know. Yeah, it's.
Well, I was imagining like you see like the sea serpent dragons they put on maps and how it goes up and down. That's what I immediately imagined.
Oh no, it's just make up your own story. Live your own adventure. I mean, yeah, the stock market did take a big hit this week. It was over coronavirus, though. And the stock market will take a big hit next week when, like, corporations pledge money to help people. It's like, oh, it's the end of time. That money should be going into somebody's pocket.
Did they open up theaters yet?
Not here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Michigan's like the last place, though. We had fun driving around today because all the restaurants were supposed to be open Monday at like, whatever reduced capacity they could run at. And it's like, I was out with Grayson. I was like, let's go to that pizza place we like that, we haven't been able to go to and really get anything from for months. And you go there, they're still closed, like just carry out only. It's like, you want to get a pizza and eat it in the car? And he's like, no, that would suck. So yeah, you're right. So we ended up going to some other place that was just terrible because you can't go in the restaurant. So whatever food they shove you, it's like, that's your food. Good luck. And whatever two people are working in there, they don't care So yeah, that was. So yeah, theaters are not open here.
Well, I saw just some movies are going to start coming out in July.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, are they? Because I think I heard something like Tenet's supposed to come out like at the end of July or something.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's like, are you willing to go to the theater in danger to see Tenet? It's like, maybe.
Yeah, it could be that people.
I'll watch Tenet in a mask.
Yeah, this is not how I want to watch a movie. This, so.
Great movie. Glad y'all could join me.
Yeah, but then you can go there and just say you're a Nolan fan and you're like you're doing your Bane impression.
Don't be afraid, it's movie time.
I was born in the darkness.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to shoot up the theater. Why? Protecting myself from coronavirus. Yeah, that would, costume levity. I mean, if the way they pump the AC at my movie theater, though, I could probably wear that mask pretty comfortably. It's just the whole breathing in and out, because that one has a valve on it. So it'd be breathing in and out like Darth Vader, like, because it exhales. You exhale through the front and inhale through the filters,
Yeah.
and that's how it works. Which it's great for painting, especially that one, because I can use that like death lacquer paint, and it's like, I don't know. I'll know because my eyes start burning. It's like, oh, time to turn the fan on in the garage. But yeah, that's I can't imagine myself in a theater anytime soon, because all this stuff's like coming. It's spiking up again, of course.
Yeah.
That's because everyone was out on the streets protesting and not giving a fuck. And
Well, actually, the areas where it's spiking is in like the South.
oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like Texas and Florida and stuff like that. In
Isn't it really
North
hot?
Carolina.
Isn't it really hot there? I thought the sun
Yeah.
killed it. That's why it
No.
turns sunlight into people's bodies.
Well, I don't like. There's something about UV rays, like, kind of might weaken it. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Because, like, I don't know. That's the thing about the coronavirus is like it seems that like everything is incorrect about it.
Yeah, well, that's the whole. That's why half the people think it's bullshit, because, well, they were wrong about one thing, so the whole thing's it's a way to create one world government and take macaroni and cheese away.
Because I was like kind of hoping that I work in a freezer that like, hey, maybe that like slows it down and I'll like be in better shape with it. It's like, no, the coronavirus doesn't give a shit about the cold, and apparently doesn't give a shit about the hot weather.
Coronavirus is everywhere, even in our soul. Yeah, so that's no theaters yet.
Yeah, I just saw some lists where it seemed, because July is not that far away, and I saw some things
Oh.
on the docket our films are going to get released. So I think that
Home for $100.
because I think Wonder Woman was going to open in July, but then Tenet was going to open there, so they kicked Wonder Woman to October.
Oh.
So we'll see.
What's Tenet even about? It looks like people with some kind of powers.
It's like some reverse time stuff, and then like an investigative people. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna watch it.
Christopher Nolan, so it's like
Yeah.
maybe hard to understand but enthralling at the same time.
Well, I heard some people saying it's like a vague sequel to Inception, but this isn't about going in people's minds. Like this reverse time shit is actually happening,
Yeah.
and there's some device that like makes it happen, and like they're trying to stop it or whatever. But I feel like there's an action scene that I made up that I feel like this movie's gonna get to it first, or maybe it's already happened. Basically, I had a reverse action scene. Where what I mean by that is that the scene starts, and like all the people, like all the stuntmen or whatever, the bad guys, they're just fucking covered in blood, missing arms, and all that stuff. And then so are the good guys. And then as the action scene progresses, like the bullets like come out of the people and go back into the gun, and then like when they're actually dead, they look fine. Like all that, like they just like reassembled in the action scene, but they end up dead. And then like you're supposed to, and like because the main characters were covered in blood at the start of the scene, you're supposed to be like worried. It's like, oh, they're gonna die. And then like the trick is at the end, it was red paint that got splashed on them. But like here, the red paint flies off of them back into the buckets, and like they're fine. But everybody else is dead, and they're not covered in blood, but they're dead. So that was the reverse action scene.
Yeah, I still like that one. What was the movie with Denzel Washington? They made the thing.
Oh, the time movie.
What was that called?
Was that Deja Vu?
I think it was something like that.
So that was another. Oh shit. The one Tony Scott movie.
Yeah, yeah, it was Deja Vu. Yeah, that was a cool, like, a car chase scene.
Yeah. The fourth dimensional car chase. Yeah.
That's an amazing idea.
They kind of did something like. Did you ever see Valerian in the something Thousand Cities or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a similar thing like that. That was pretty cool in that movie.
Yeah, I really had a lot of hopes for that movie. It's like, ooh, this is gonna be like another Fifth Element. No,
I mean,
kind of.
it is visually and sort of idea wise, but like it does, the story is kind of stupid and doesn't really necessarily have the greatest lead actors. But I mean, I like those actors, but like they're kind of like super indie actors. Like you want to see them mopey in some movie that costs $5 million. You don't want to see them be action heroes.
And strange action heroes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's French. What are you gonna do?
yeah, it's like you're either gonna love it or hate it.
But speaking of French movies, I need to sell you on the movie Blood Machines.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Blood Machine. So the only way you can watch it is it's a Shudder exclusive,
Okay,
which that is a horror movie streaming service.
okay,
So you can get it on Amazon. You can't buy it, but you can like sign up through Amazon as a channel, and it's like $5 a month, and then you can just watch it and immediately cancel it. I'd say it's worth it. That and One Cut of the Dead, I'd say it's worth it to do that. But being you haven't subscribed before, you can probably get a 2-week free trial to watch it. But yeah, and this Blood Machines, it isn't coherent, but it's fucking cool. And you're also gonna have to like watch who's gonna be around when you watch it, because it's definitely a movie that when you watch it, people are gonna like, what the fuck are you watching? Because there's gonna be like a lady naked in space flying around and a bunch of weird shit happening. You're not gonna be able to explain it except go, it's a French, and it's like, oh, okay. It's done in English, but the it's essentially it's a music video for an artist named Carpenter Brute.
okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of him before.
No, I haven't.
Okay, well you like Kavinsky, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he's essentially so Carpenter Brute is another synthwave French artist who's obsessed with the 80s. So if you like Kavinsky, you'll like Carpenter Brute.
Okay.
I think Carpenter Brute said a lot of his music he creates it as the idea of it being music, the soundtrack to horror movies.
Okay.
Which is probably why he calls himself Carpenter Brute, as like an homage to John Carpenter. I don't know if that's it. I just imagine that's what it is. So yeah, there's a director team called Seth Ickerman. It's two guys, but they have a nom de plume for one to be one person. It's called Seth Ickerman. And they did a music video for one of Carpenter Brute's songs called Turbo Killer, and it's a vague precursor to Blood Machines.
All right.
And Blood Machines was kickstarted, so that's and it's weird because it's not really a complete film. It's essentially the Blood Machines album is 50 minutes long, so the movie is 50 minutes long, but
All right.
it's split up into 3 parts on Shudder. And so like some episodes are 20 minutes long, some are like 16, and they all end in like a 8-minute credit sequence at the end. So it's kind of weird, but so the aesthetics, it's kind of grindhouse, where they do a kind of bunch of digital effects to make it look like the film's all fucked up, and there's kind of like it's almost like burns or weird fluorescent. It's like the light bulb isn't bright enough to illuminate the entire film, and there's like scratches all over the place. You got some Geiger aesthetics. The spaceship, the main spaceship in the movie is very Geiger, but more like Geiger meets Warhammer 40K.
All right.
And the inside of the ship is basically the Nostromo, just maybe a bit more fanciful,
Okay.
but it has that kind of look. There's kind of a psychedelic stuff, like the planet atmosphere basically looks like a white milky lava lamp, like it's really cool looking. And then space also looks like a lava lamp, but like just with blackness and red and blues and shit.
Huh.
The music's really good, so I mean, that's pretty much what got this movie made.
Yeah, I'm looking at the trailer right now. Okay. Does look interesting. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah, but yeah, there's almost no story. I mean, there's like there's an opening that tells you what's going on, where it says there's a machine rebellion and then a rogue AI crashed on this planet, and they're supposed to get the ship back. And then they meet these weird indigenous ladies who like do something to the crashed spaceship, and then a naked lady pops out of it, and then they're chasing her around the universe.
Yeah, she has an upside down crucifix on her body.
Yep, I would say that's on her crotch. Yeah.
Yeah, it can move. It's basically the T intersects at her crotch. It's like no subtlety to this symbolism.
No.
Um,
But yeah, it is stuff in English, and I think the main guy is like, I want to say he's Danish because it's not like he does a bad English. It's clearly it's an accent. His main language isn't English, but he almost sounds like a Danish Sean Connery in a way. It's weird. Or he could be French. I don't know. I'm guessing Danish.
yeah.
And then there's like this old guy on there who like I never heard of. And I looked up his filmography, and it's like his main filmography is like transsexual in the original Fun with Dick and Jane movie. Like that's his credit.
Yeah, some of these Kickstarter movies get some unusual cast choices.
Yeah.
It's like one of the guys knows this obscure film. I liked this guy. What's he done since? Nothing. Well, he's cheap then.
And they shot this in France, so they used a lot of actors around there. Because it was funny because like the main guy, Vascan, I looked up his filmography, and it's like his main thing was that Valerian movie, and then you see his scene in it, and he's just like a cop in a background. Like he's not a main guy at all.
Does he have a speaking role?
Yeah, I don't think so. I haven't seen the movie, so I can't remember, but like, he just looked like a generic cop in the screenshot of him. But yeah, it's really cool. So check out Blood Machines on Shudder.
Probably do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Looks like something that's up my alley.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's short because it's only really 50 minutes long, and they weirdly split it up into 3 sections, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they did that or if it was intended to be that way. So I looked up some reviews, and people were like bombing the reviews, saying like, it's great, but Shudder destroyed it with its distribution method. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. It seems like a really weirdly specific complaint. Is this the ex-employee section?
But yeah, I watched Turbo Killer, and that'll give you, like I said, it's sort of a precursor in the styling. It's not necessarily story-wise a precursor, although there's a character that wears a gas mask that has like the eyes are glowing, and that character's in Turbo Killer, and then that character shows up in Blood Machines, unexplained, just more of a cool visual thing. Not really, doesn't really have any meaning other than what you apply to it yourself.
Oh, okay. So there's not like a book of lore here where all these
No.
rationally. Okay, I didn't think so. Based on the trailer, I didn't think so.
There's like cool stuff like they have like this guy has he has a laser rifle, but it's more of a plasma. Basically, the front of it looks like a glowing radiator.
Yeah.
And then when he fires it, like it like shoots the air, just a giant green bolt thing shoots the air, but it doesn't just like disappear. Like it hangs there for like half a minute, and it's still like dangerous.
Oh. A Linger cannon.
But yeah, it's really visually cool. Like, I hope these guys get to make like another thing.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, it definitely has a style to it, but sometimes seems cheap, and then sometimes it's like, why aren't other people doing this? And so, yeah, and I don't know how rushed the production is, but yeah, it was a neat thing.
We need more French house musicians to make strange movies about their music.
Yeah, I was thinking about, like, maybe I should get into more French artists, because probably the most music I listened to in like the past like 10 years would probably be, or albums wise, would probably be like a Kavinsky album, and then like the Daft Punk album. Like, those guys are French, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Like that Tron Legacy album was just like on repeat for me like daily. And the Blood Machines album, I've been listening to that. It's really good.
Yeah, I'll check that out too. What I can get out of that, but yeah.
And then you saw Ad Astra, and I did as well.
Yeah, this was a movie that came out. I was like, what is this? And then it sort of like went away.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. And I never
Well,
thought.
I thought it looked cool when I first saw it, and then
Yeah.
it got very indifferent reviews, and then I was like, I guess not. If like it just gets if it's like the wildly divisive reviews, I decided to just not go see it.
Yeah.
And now I see why.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of liked it.
I think it's
Go into it with expectations, so
yeah.
this was cool.
Well, it's like one of those things where it's like A+ production, but then kind of like C- story.
Yeah, well,
Well, like the director described it as like 2001: A Space Odyssey meets Apocalypse Now, or just Heart of Darkness in general.
yeah,
Which that totally makes sense, but I don't necessarily want to see. I don't know. There's always something about space travel that's hopeful to me, and then here it's like it's like useless. Like, this is about
Massive, doom or something.
yeah. It's like, well, we tried really hard, but this is the end of humanity. And apparently the ending was originally darker, and I don't know what the fuck they do with a darker ending. Then basically it was
Takes
pointless.
the antimatter to Earth and just destroys it.
Yeah.
There's no life in the galaxy. Never now.
Well, I kept hearing of a sci-fi movie where there's like an astronaut adrift in space, and like the whole movie is like basically him dying while talking to people while floating off, and nobody can get to him in time.
Yeah.
I thought this was that movie, but I'm guessing it's another movie someone's making. But
It sounds familiar, but yeah.
because I could almost see like at the end there that happening, like he just gets flung off and there's nothing he can do.
Just gonna suffocate.
But also like the other problems I have with I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. That moon buggy like shootout scene was like, that's cool looking, but like it made no sense.
Yeah, it seemed to stretch the bonds of credibility. It's like
Well, especially when like they get that. Well, it's just that's the thing I don't like about the movie is it has like the Prometheus problem. Like, let's watch the smartest people in the universe do the dumbest things possible.
yeah. It's like, what you guys need are some armored moon buggies and some 50s on the top that are fired by robots. It's like, okay, problem solved. Next.
Well, the only thing that led to that scene was there's like when they're flying there's like something about like the moon doesn't have any defined territories. It's just kind of a free for all, and so anything can happen. It's just like almost like a lawless, like place or something.
Right. Yeah, very expensive to maintain lawless place. Where you're using 1970s style moon buggies to commemorate the moon landing as road warriors.
But visually it looked cool. Like, I never saw a shootout in the moon before.
It looked great. I mean, I like the silence and just like the only actions you hear are like what's bouncing off your suit. Like you don't hear the explosions.
No.
Just shit hits you. It's like, oh, particles of crap. I mean, the whole the opening sequence with the
Is that a space elevator, or is that just like hanging down the atmosphere?
it's like it's a space antenna,
Huh.
but it's built from the ground, so it is like space elevator,
Okay.
but it doesn't.
Because I never saw it like connecting to the ground, so I didn't know what it was doing. But like I felt like, well, he can't fall from space to Earth and use a parachute. Like I don't think that would necessarily work that way unless he was tethered to the Earth to begin with.
Yeah, no, he was.
Okay.
And I don't think he was. I think he was in extremely thin atmosphere, but I don't think he was
In
like,
space,
outside.
yeah. He was just like high atmosphere, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the guy who jumped off the thing for the Red Bull.
Yeah, well, like even like the 71 SR-71 Blackbird, like it can fly high up. You can see space in that thing when you fly high enough. So,
But yeah,
but I just they didn't convey like that whole thing coming to the ground,
yeah.
which that would be cool to see. Like, what's the base of that thing? That must be gigantic.
Supporting several million tons. Yeah.
That was one thing I liked about Fear the Sky when they build the space elevator and they talk about like basically like, this one island is just like one of the like foot pedals for the space elevator. The entire island. We had to move people to build the foothold for the space elevator.
One of my favorite space elevator descriptions was in Alistair Reynolds' Chasm City, where they're on Sky's Edge, and they're trying to. Or no, which one is that? That's not Chasm City. Anyway, I forget which one it is. But anyway, they're riding the space elevator up, and it's just on this thread, and it's like I forget how thick they said it was, but it was basically like about that thick, and this thing was riding it, and it's like, how does that work? It's like, oh, it's solid diamond thread that this elevator rides, and so to kill the guys, they put explosives in the elevator car ahead of it, and it shattered the thread because they used very high, powerful explosives on the car in front of them. And the whole description of the movie in the book is like, well, we're in space and this stuff's coming down on us pretty quickly, so we got to get in suits and get outside the elevator car, so it'll all fall past us and we don't get crushed, and they'll come pick us up in space. But it was like visually it was a cool idea of this what would be like just a hair thin band pulling these million-ton elevator cars up into space, but it's like, oh no, it's solid diamond. It's like but the only way to hurt it is to fly a ship through it or let off a high explode, because diamond is strong but it shatters. So
Yeah. The cool thing in the Fear of the Sky, or it's just one of the sequels, and both the sequels suck. But anyways, the space elevator gets blown up, and like some of it like falls to the ground, and then the other like top part of it is essentially just flowing into space. Because like it's going as fast as the Earth rotation, it just gets flung out into space.
yeah, but that's it's kind of it's visually interesting.
Yeah,
And then it was, I mean, when I first watched this movie, because I had to watch it in like 4 sequences because it was kind of broke up between work and stuff, but it was like, oh, this is Neil Armstrong is the main character in a movie about it's like Solaris and 2001: A Space Odyssey with some action scenes. Like that's what I got.
Yeah.
This movie seemed like that, and it's like, oh, and it's shot like the Christopher Nolan movie,
Interstellar.
yeah, it's just like, oh, this looks like Interstellar. It sounds like Solaris, and Brad Pitt is playing Neil Armstrong. And it's 2000. It's got elements of 2001: A Space Odyssey, but those kind of long, dreamy sequences make sense because this guy's slowly losing his mind, especially when he's in space for like 80 days by himself.
Yeah, do they ever like give a time frame for anything?
Yeah, because he says it sometimes. I forget, to the moon. They don't really.
Because it takes like a week to get to the moon, but I imagine with this stuff it's faster. And then, like, as far as I know, it would take a year to get to Mars, but they seem to get to Mars in like a week.
It's like 18 days, I think, and that's what the stop to be attacked by apes.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Weird. It wasn't what you were expecting.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah.
I mean, I was also not expecting Fred Armisen to be the head of the Space Command Special Forces either. But it was just a talking role.
And then but yeah, I have no idea how long it would take to get to Neptune. But
78 days.
okay.
That's what they said in the movie.
Oh, okay. So I missed that because I was like anticipating did he like spend 5 years doing this or what? And I wasn't sure or not. So I guess I just missed that part.
Well, I mean, you got to assume if they're using antimatter, because that's the whole thing.
Well, I think just the Lima project. I think that's the only one that actually used matter antimatter stuff.
Well, I mean, if they can even generate antimatter to use it 30 years ago, 30 years before the time in this story, then they probably have some pretty serious energy systems. They don't really talk about refueling rockets. It's just they got to land and then be resupplied. And so I imagine they're using. It's kind of like Expanse stuff. It's like, well, we've solved that problem.
Well, no, I thought I read something that the engines are like electrical engines, so they harvest solar energy, and then that goes in the engine.
Yeah, it could be too. It's unobtainium, whatever.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Donald Sutherland was a weird addition to the cast.
Yeah, you basically have a bunch of the cast from Space Cowboys show up.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think they use images of Tommy Lee Jones from Space Cowboy. They just changed the patches on it.
Probably. I think Tommy Lee Jones had 5 minutes in this movie.
Yeah.
He was a voice, and then
I think if I had daddy issues, I imagine I would have got a lot out of this movie because if you had, have your dad just look at you and say I never cared about you. I was about human progress. And he's just I know, Dad.
I left you and your mom to die because I wanted to do this. It was like, yeah, I know. Brad Pitt in this is, like I said, he is literally like the edge of autism. No matter what happens, he's just like, yeah, let's go, let's keep going. He never has any real large emotional reaction until the end. When just like, just let me loose. I want to die out here. Okay. He does seem upset about it briefly, but then
he gets upset on Mars when he assumes that his dad responded and they won't tell him.
Yeah.
Because then he can't get back on the spaceship because his heart rate's too elevated.
Right, yeah. Yep. Let's see. Who else makes an appearance? Oh, yeah, the guy from The Expanse was the radio guy in this, or whatever he was. That guy always shows up. Remember that guy? He was like the second in command of the ship in The Expanse, the very first season. It was the guy who died on the Rocinante and gave them all the command codes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a bit actor, but you always know that his name's Greg Burke. It's like, that's a very interesting looking dude because you always recognize him. Like, yeah, I've seen this guy in The Expanse and on some other shows. Can't remember what else I saw him on, but yeah.
Yeah, there's some weird. It's kind of interesting where it gives us a way of how space travel is we tried so hard, but now it's falling apart because all the space guys are. There's a lot of religious stuff in this movie where scientists and stuff are going back towards religion, and even Tommy Lee Jones is that doesn't seem that doesn't seem like a good thing. If humanity is progressing forward, if people are believing, really getting back into God, that means things are failing.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of hinted around that Earth is kind of messed up.
Yeah.
It's but I mean, maybe not more messed up than it is now, but it's it really never got better. It's just, it's just
well, it seemed like a lot of eggs were put in the basket of the Lima project.
Yeah.
And then that failed, and now they don't know what to do. Now Earth is just falling apart.
They're spending a lot. Well, they're spending a lot.
Well, I mean, in the movie, what's the real threat is that the Lima project antimatter engine is doing something weird with Neptune, and it's sending out these giant surges that then shut everything off randomly.
Well, it's sending out electromagnetic pulses, But the thing is, because it's based on antimatter, it only gets stronger the further away it moves and the more it encounters.
Huh.
As those pulses, they exponentially increase in destructive force with each wave.
Okay.
That was briefly explained, and then like, yeah, this is the thing. You know, I don't. But that's what they were saying. That's why it was such a big deal. And so we have to solve it with mankind's old reliable nuclear weapons. Like that's the solution to everything.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, at some point, like you have to be content with the fact that this whole story is meant to be an emotional journey, not necessarily some like technological marvel thing where we're like, oh, that man's capacity for innovation in science. No, it's about a guy who needs to cry.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a strange movie.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch. It's well done.
Yeah, like I said, A+. Even though I don't necessarily think I like it, I'd still recommend at least watch it once. Like you should see the movie. You don't have to like the movie, but you should see it.
Yeah, it's a like I said, it's a weird. It's definitely an homage to like the great space epics, the ones that are set and rooted more in like humankind and early space travel, not science fiction-y type space travel.
Yeah.
But it also manages to be darker and surprisingly violent at some points.
Yeah.
And then it just then it immediately like goes back to this guy's like emotional level of zero. The main character, Roy McBride, who I watched some reviews about this movie, and they said like, because I thought it when I first watched it, and then other people said it's like, yeah, Neil Armstrong was the guy that this character was designed around, because I guess he was really like that. He's kind of this emotionless guy who was like, yeah, let's.
Well, I mean, that's how he was portrayed in First Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen. Okay, yeah.
So it was kind of it's interesting, because that's how the astronauts and very reminiscent of the guys in 2001: A Space Odyssey, where they were just kind of, especially the one guy that survived, he was just kind of very straightforward and thinking, and it's like, well, we got to do this now. Yeah, everyone's dead except me. So, yeah.
Shit. I had something else to say, but I immediately forgot. Something about Neil Armstrong or whatever. Oh well.
How old is Tommy Lee Jones now?
Damn.
73.
Okay, yeah. Hey, Brad Pitt's like 55.
Yeah, I was gonna say, him and Brad Pitt are a lot closer in age than what you'd think.
Yeah, that's what it said. They're actually, well, yeah, because they said they're 16 years apart in the movie, and in real life they're actually 16 years apart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a podcast I was listening to, or like they talk about how in when Brad Pitt takes his shirt off in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and they're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, this is the new 50?" There's no way.
Well, this movie, they've spent $100 million on it, and it made $132 million.
Okay, so they basically lost their ass. Oh well. But I always assumed that was like based on something, but it wasn't. It was an original idea from the director and co-writer. So
Yeah, the director of this was the same guy that did like The Lost City of Z.
yeah, I never saw that.
It's a cool movie, but it's like it's slow.
Is it contemplative and boring?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because our Brad Pitt was supposed to be in that, but they eventually got back around to working with each other.
Yeah, no, that's.
Wait, who is in Lost City of Z? It's like Bill Murray in that or something?
Something.
Oh, okay.
Main guy, and I'm trying to think of who. Robert Pattinson
Okay.
is the supporting actor, and there was a lot of people that showed up in it. But
There's like some Bill Murray movie with a Z in it, but like it was almost like it was a BioShock movie, but I can't remember what the fuck it was
The
called.
Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
No, not that.
Okay.
Maybe I'll look it up. What the fuck was that? Yeah, Bill Murray was in the news for something recent. I think it was like his kid did something stupid. I can't remember.
Oh, I didn't know Bill Murray had children.
Me neither.
Did he know?
Oh yeah, and the Bill and Ted. Have you seen the Bill and Ted trailer?
Yeah, I did. I saw that.
Okay. I'm hopeful for it. I don't know if it'll be good, but I really enjoyed Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I don't know if this will continue that, but I'll be fine to just watch that movie. Oh, there was a movie just called The Lost City.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, wait, no, that's not it. Okay, well he's also in a movie called The Lost City. I thought it was something with like a Z in it.
His son got arrested at a protest. For
Oh, okay.
alleged assault and battery on a policeman. But, you know, it was in Martha's Vineyard. It's like, okay, does that get wild?
Oh, here's City of Ember. He's in a lot. Okay, yeah, it was City of Ember that I'm thinking of. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, that's a weird one, yeah. The Lost City of Z is based on a real thing.
Oh, what's it about?
It is, what was that guy looking for? Hold on, let me get it back up. A lot of people, I forget what they thought. They thought there was some like huge city, and this was back in, I forget when it was set. It's like 1870s, 1880s, or whatever. And they said it was like this guy civilization that existed in South America, and he kept going into the jungles in Brazil trying to find this huge city, and it's like it's not there. No one's ever, and they disputed like how big the civilization was. He says no, it is there. It's just they died suddenly, and the rainforest grew up around it, and so it was basically this guy's struggle to prove that the city, you know, was actually a real thing, because he found some documents or whatever that referred to it.
Huh.
And but yeah, he got, I forget how many people, he got like 3 funded exposition, but one of his problems was he kept getting he kept running out of money, and the expeditions got more and more expensive. And it was in the 1920s and 30s this happened. Okay.
It's Indiana Jones shit.
I think he disappeared too, as I remember. He was never never found again. I think they found a bunch of his belongings with the various Indian tribes that lived in those woods, but yeah, you know, this is like the city. I think this got conflated with like El Dorado. You know, it was like this golden city, you know, deep in the jungle. We just got to keep finding it. That was kind of like the vulgar public face of, but really it was about a guy who just wanted to do serious archaeological work.
Yeah.
In very, you know, 1920s Brazil and deep in the rainforest. Like, that's a death sentence. Like, they didn't even have penicillin and stuff going on.
Yeah.
People just out of their minds sweating in a tent. Like, fun. It was a pretty good movie.
I'll have to see if it's streaming anywhere.
It's an Amazon original, I think.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
I
thought that came out like a while ago. Never mind.
Yeah, it's 2017.
Yeah, I guess Charlie Hunnam. Yeah, Charlie Hunnam's a pretty new actor.
Ooh, excuse me. But yeah. So Ad Astra, check it out.
It's on HBO Go, which will soon be renamed HBO Now, because now HBO Now is renamed HBO Max. It's all stupid.
It's all
I don't know. Maybe I accidentally read an Onion article. I don't know. That's how stupid that seems, if that's true. Because that's what did it. So the HBO Max, if you had HBO Now, it just turned into HBO Max. And pretty much I think HBO Max might have original shows, but really all it does is it combines HBO's stuff with like Warner Media stuff. So it's like TNT and some other stuff.
Oh, okay.
So that's really all HBO Max does.
What did they say is going to happen with us? Like, I guess Peacock and the CBS streaming service, the CBS All Access. Now we're going to get that through our cable company, through our TV box.
Huh.
Any programs they have, we can watch on that, I guess. I don't know if we have to pay extra for it, but they're making it sound like it's just going to roll. Of course, that's Comcast like twisting arms because it's like, hey, we don't want everyone just to use our internet service. They got to have our overpriced cable service. Watch, my signal's going to cut out. He has spoken the demon words. Cancel his subscription. But yeah, that's what they're saying. I don't know.
Huh.
Of course, so many people now, they're so desperate to keep you now, like, because there's a lot of people around here just can't pay their fucking bills anymore because they've been out of work for 3 months. And one of the first things that goes is like, hey, I can't have the $260 a month cable bill anymore. And so, yeah, I've heard like you can pretty much call them and gripe. It's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do, because see, around here it's like contracts, like cell phone contracts.
Yeah.
Like that's how you buy your cable service. It's like a 2-year contract, which it used to be. It was month to month, and then that went away. But yeah, supposedly we're going to get all this stuff, and we don't have to. I don't know if we have to pay or not. I think it's going to be rolled out, and then it's like, yeah, add another $5 a month to my almost $300 cable bill. Why not?
I don't notice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and there's drama at Bon Appetit YouTube. Well, I guess it's gained popularity through its YouTube channel, but it's primarily a magazine.
Okay. I wonder if those two were connected, but now you said it, so yes, they are. So what happened? Was somebody playing grab ass in the kitchen?
No.
Nothing as noble as that, huh?
It's like weird. So essentially what happened is they've been doing shows like from their houses and stuff like that because everyone's on lockdown, and they're based out of New York. They actually do in the world. They actually like the Bon Appetit test kitchen is in World Trade Center 1, or what do they call that? World 1 Trade Center or something like that.
Yeah.
Or World Trade Center 1 or whatever. Yeah, so that's where their stuff is. So the lead editor, his name's Adam Rappaport.
I've heard that name before.
Well, there's a no, who's Rappaport? There's that guy from Sopranos. He's a Rappaport, isn't he?
I think so.
Oh no, I'm thinking about the other guy, the fucking guy who's always in the Spike Lee movies, like the one white guy in all the Spike Lee movies. That's his name's he's also Rappaport. I can't remember.
Michael.
Yeah, Michael Rappaport. Anyways, like so I guess something surfaced where he was they said he was in brown face, but like I saw the picture and like I couldn't tell. It didn't look like he was wearing makeup. And then they found out that So everybody on the YouTube channel that like has their own show, they get paid extra.
Okay.
And then everyone that's just kind of like guests or appears in the show, like they don't get paid extra for making those appearances. They just have their base salary.
Okay.
And it happens to be that everybody has their own show and gets paid for it is white. And everyone who is a guest is somebody of color. And they're not getting paid extra. Huh?
Is that just a coincidence? Or?
That's, well, yeah, I don't know. That's, yeah, it just seemed weird.
You think the people running the network would be like, hey, you see this trend here? This is not going to sell right now.
Well, the thing, like, I almost think, like, if I want to do work for them, which I don't, but if I was thinking, okay, like, eventually all these people are, like, kind of side characters. Like, you think, like, you know, if they keep going, eventually they're going to get their own show and then they're going to get paid.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that's just, like, never going to happen. Because, like, when, like, somebody, I've been, like I've loved her and stuff because I've only kind of known about her recently because I kind of, like, was in and out, but, like, ever since the quarantine, like, I've been watching it, like, every day they put out a video. I watch all of it. And it's her name's Sola, and she's great because she's like has this weird energy where she always seems like kind of like upbeat and happy, but there's just like a real sadness behind her too. And it's like she's only happy when she's cooking. I just say
cooking and talking, but if you know, like if the camera panned up from the pan of grease, there'd be tears. It's like,
yeah.
the food. Look at the food. This is the one thing that gives it all meaning, ties it all together.
And she always seems like happy and bubbly, but then when she like stretches her arm out, you see like all these tattoos and shit, and it's like there's just like, oh, she's interesting.
There's a story here.
Yeah. But like, so she guests on a lot of things, and apparently, like, her salary is $50,000, and she lives in New York, so that's nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be hard to live here.
Yeah, and then like you see her all over the YouTube channel, but apparently she wasn't getting paid extra for any of that stuff. So yeah, that was disheartening. And then she put out a post basically saying that whenever they shoot something, they always find like the people of color in the they hire them and like they pay them, but like they're just getting shoved in front of the camera to like pose as diversity. It's kind of that cynical liberalism.
Yeah,
It's like we hit the quota. It's like aren't we good people? It's like, well, if we dig into this, no.
Yeah, it's always fun when people want to do head counts. See? Doesn't that match what the government chart says we have to do? It's like, oh, that's real. That's really coming from a place of sincerity.
So ever since this came out, they've basically just though that guy just immediately quit. So that was interesting.
I'm like 45 years old. I've done a lot of weird shit in my life. Things that people probably wouldn't approve of, maybe things that were illegal. I have never once put on blackface.
Yeah.
What is it with all these people that are just showing up and it's like?
Well, also like I saw the picture and like I couldn't. Maybe I'm not sensitive to that, but like it was like a kind of a bad camera angle and darkness, and like I don't think he had any makeup on. I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not like trying to defend him. I just like, from my perspective, it didn't look like he was doing brown or blackface or anything like that. He was definitely going for a Latin look. That's apparent, and especially the tweet says something like something in Spanish is that his girlfriend, now wife, said about him or whatever. So they're doing some Halloween dress up thing, but
okay.
But yeah, ever since this happened, there's been no videos out from Bon Appetit, and so I've just been kind of bummed about that. It's like, oh, because like you just thought like this was a happy place, and then like there's nothing but joy, and everyone's doing great, and it's like, oh no, apparently it's all kind of fucked. So we'll see what happens when they return.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just. I'm amazed at the
give Sola her own show.
Yes, please. And not as a consolation prize.
Yeah.
But because we want to know the sadness behind her tattoo. The diversity and all that stuff that's not what I'm here for. I want to know her inner pain as she's making creme brulee.
Well, it's funny, I guess that she doesn't have well, I think she had a stovetop at her house, but she uses this Breville. It's kind of like it's like a heating element, but you can just like plug it in the wall and it acts like a stove burner.
Like a hot plate, a high grade hot plate.
Yeah, but it uses magnets to make the heat.
Oh, it's inductive. Okay, that's cool.
And it's like by Breville, which they do high end stuff, and it's called Breville Polyscience or whatever. And I was like that.
$1,500. Okay.
Oh, that seems cheap. I remember it being like $3,000 on Amazon.
Well, this might be the low end model.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, I was like looking up, I'm like, that's kind of neat. How much does that cost? It's like, oh fuck no, that costs more than an oven.
I was gonna say I could be my own Betty Crocker for what this thing.
I know. No, I've bought a Breville thing before. They make good stuff, but still, that's way too much.
I have a Breville toaster. I'll tell you what, it makes the best bagels. You can toast 4 bagels, you can toast 4 sides of bagels in that, and under 2 minutes you'll have just like out of how the restaurants they like run them through an oven.
Yeah.
On roller grate. So this is just this pop-up toaster, and it does just as good a job.
Yeah, I got a Breville tea maker, and it's awesome because it has this little magnet thing, and it uses magnets to lower the basket of tea into the water.
Oh, okay.
And
Cool.
it's also like when you put it on the little track, it just magnetizes to it. It's just neat. It's a really good team maker, though.
Yeah. I like their $4,000 culinary vacuum sealer. They're not
Jesus
joking around with it.
Christ. What does that do special other than a normal vacuum sealer?
I don't know.
There's nothing obvious off the bat. I mean, there's probably something that makes it cost
I mean,
that
it's
much.
got like a little touch screen on the front.
Oh.
It has operator and manager passcodes. What? Wow.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh yeah, this thing does all kinds of.
Is that like something meant for like not home use? That's like something meant for like
Oh, this is
industrial
like
use?
industrial use. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay.
This is like if you're sealing meat.
Okay, yeah, so it's something that's meant like you're going to be doing this 100 times a day and it needs to last.
Yeah. That seems to be what's going on.
Okay.
But
But yeah, it's just kind of disappointing. We'll see how it recovers from this.
well, one thing I've learned from all this is we're never going to do our podcast in blackface. That is something that people need. I mean, what's the Prime Minister of Canada? There's like 5 different photos of him doing
Yeah.
it. And he's like, because that's something you do. Remember when Ted Danson did it as a goof when he was dating Whitney?
Yeah, but he was dating Whoopi Goldberg and she egged him
Whoopi
on.
Goldberg
That's
and-
still not an excuse.
Yeah, but even back when he did it, people were kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, you get your dating Whoopi, but that seems a little crazy.
Yeah, it's not permission to go out there and do racist humor.
But then you're like, yeah, and he also did like an old 1930s tap dance routine too or something. It's like, yeah, that's a little weird. But yeah, it's like, why is the Prime Minister of Canada? Why now he didn't do it recently, but why is there like multiple different photos?
Yeah.
And he wasn't just using a bronzer. It was like he painted himself with black paint. And it's like, wow, this is weird. Who's doing this? And why and where? I've never done that.
But also apparently like it came out that, well, I'm not sure if it's true or not. It was the Claire video. She does the gourmet makes where she makes like kind of like Hot Pockets, but does like gourmet versions of them.
Yeah.
And like it said something, she was making like $20,000 an episode for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good payday
Um,
for making Hot Pockets.
well, I mean those videos get millions of hits, so they're
Oh,
it's
yeah, I
probably
mean-
worth it.
There's definitely an economy there, but
Um,
yeah.
and
it's-
yeah,
Who's
then
Who was the lady, the southern lady that
oh,
lost?
Paula Dean.
Yeah, because she was like actually saying like terrible things to people, or supposedly did, or at one time did. I don't know.
Well, it's like, well, there's something they pointed out, like, here's her saying, like, terrible things, but there's also things where it's like she's giving compliments, but she just used terrible language as a compliment, so
Oh.
it kind of negates the compliment. Yeah, and then she hid the fact that she's diabetic for years, and, you know, she's out there making deep-fried macaroni squares.
Oh God, forgot about that.
What was the other YouTube drama? Well, not YouTube drama. Other YouTube thing. Oh yeah, then people. I'm not sure if this was. Then Vice wrote an article about it all, and it's like a great. It's like the article is well written, but also total bullshit.
Oh, okay. Good
Well,
propaganda.
it gets to some point where it's like claiming like the white supremacist culture at Bon Appetit, and like I know what you're getting at, but that's not like I doubt that's true. Like I said, this is like cynical liberalism. Like I doubt these people are like a bunch of rednecks like trying to intentionally not pay people of color on this YouTube thing, but like I said, I don't want to do work for, you know, the toxicity that exists there. But like the whole article is based on 2 comments from Sola, and then the rest of it was just like stuff about how like what people like about Bon Appetit and how it's like a replacement for The Office, where it's like this is the funny workplace comedy show, but it's live and you learn something at the end of it. Which is like that's interesting deduction. It's also total bullshit compared to what the article is supposed to speak about. Well, that's why like I said, it's well written, but a lot of bullshit in it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those quick and dirty Vice article. It's not like a deep introspective. They get somebody on the inside and get quotes from everybody. It's like, here's what's actually going on. And no, it's just kind of surface level stuff.
Click, click, click. Add.
And I hated they use it. So they use a term, and I'm not exactly sure how it's. And I heard, and I hate it. Instead of using fans, they call them stans. Like I think in like the Eminem thing, stan, like an obsessed fan.
Okay.
But they just call them stands. And like apparently I haven't been reading enough Vice articles to know about this, but it sounds really stupid when you read the article, and like it just seems like somebody misspelled something. It's like, somebody needs to do a spell check on that. It's like, no, they meant it.
Yeah, either they're they're
Because they keep talking about the stands of Bon Appetit, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
somebody's spell check got screwed up and they changed fan to stand, but yeah, that's.
But yeah, what it's supposed to, I know it's more specific, where it's talking about like the diehard Bon Appetit fans who are unwilling to accept what actually happened. They're like, no, this isn't true, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure you categorize me at that. I just think this is disappointing, and I hope they do better. But I'm not like losing my mind about it.
I'll tell you, my opinion on a lot of this stuff is like, oh, this is the catharsis our culture is moving through now. What's going to be the next thing that the media is going to scare everyone about, and or that our media is going to take both sides of the issue depending on which news network you watch, and make everyone completely enraged and upset and angry about something that's like that's, you think there's like a million organized Nazis marching on Washington, taking it over or something. It's like, well, no, that's not happening either. So that's how you make money. Stir people up, get them going.
And then I forgot talk about wrestling, for last month. I forget when this happened. I took the week off for it, just to watch AEW's Double or Nothing 2020.
Okay.
Which that was the original Double or Nothing, was technically their first production as AEW.
Oh, okay.
So this is the second the second Double or Nothing, which was originally supposed to be in the same place in Vegas, but of course they had to cancel all that.
Right.
So they shot this in Daly's Place, which is amphitheater next to the Jacksonville Jaguars stadium. And it was a great show. But probably the match you would like the most was the Stadium Stampede match, where they did a wrestling match all over the Jaguar Stadium.
Oh wow, okay.
And it's essentially it's not really a standard wrestling match. It's more of like a comedy movie, but with wrestling in it.
Okay.
Like it's almost like if Airplane did a wrestling scene for 20 minutes. That's what this was. Like they have the wrestling link at the 50-yard line. You have two teams of 5, and then they come out at the either end of the end zones, and then when they start the match and ring the bell, they act like a kickoff and they just run head first into each other, from the end zones.
Seeing some videos.
And then the Hangman Adam Page wasn't there because there's kind of a contentious relationship between him and the Elite, which is the good guy team. And then later he shows up on a horse, and then he chases Sammy Guevara down with a horse.
Wow.
Oh man, there's a bunch of great. There's a bar fight in there at some point because Hangman Page gets lost, and then he decided, because right now his character is he's an alcoholic. And so he stopped caring about the fight, and he just went to a bar to get drunk, and then they have an old school cowboy bar fight at the bar at the Jaguar Stadium. Oh Oh man, yeah, I forget it. There's just a lot of great shit. It's just a really fun, goofy match. I recommend you watching it. So,
Okay. Definitely have to check that out.
I mean, all the other matches were great too, but that one I could show you because you don't need any context and you can just enjoy it, and you don't have to know any wrestling details or anything like that. It's just loud and goofy wrestling comedy nonsense.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
Oh yeah, Money in the Bank happened, where they shot that on the roof of the WWE's offices.
How was that?
It was okay. It was kind of, it was fun for what it was. At one point, they made it look like two people just got thrown off the roof of the building, which was fun. It's like, wait, did he just kill that guy? It's like, yes, he did.
Awesome.
And then like the big fat guy Otis like accidentally won the Money in the Bank briefcase, so that was great. Like two other guys were going for it, and then they like dropped it, and it fell in his arms, and
Oh, it's real comic type.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't been watching any of WWE TV recently, so I don't even know what they're doing with that. I don't even know if Otis still has the briefcase. Because wait, the briefcase, whoever gets a briefcase, they can challenge anybody for a championship. So that's what it does.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like the match wasn't like, the match didn't start in the roof. All the matches, well, actually they had a women's match and they had a men's match, and they filmed it all. They didn't film it all live. They put it together. They edited it all together. But they start at the bottom of the offices, and then like they fight on their way up to the roof, where there's a ring and a ladder, and they have to get on the ladder to climb to get a briefcase in the ring on top of the building. So,
Oh, okay.
so the concept was really good. They probably could have done better, but it was enjoyable for what it was. So, and they started putting people in the audience finally. So,
Let's do cardboard cutouts too.
no, but that'd be a good idea.
A lot of like, in Europe they do that a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I heard for like soccer games, they're like just piping in audience audio and stuff like that for like when people score a goal,
Yeah.
just to like maintain some normalcy, even though it's like completely fake. But they started letting like the other wrestlers be like audience members,
Oh, okay.
like the way that AEW does it. Of course, one thing they did different is they essentially have, like, you know, those glass boards they have at like a hockey stadium.
Yes.
So they put that around the ring.
Huh.
So I guess like when they actually have audience members, like that's gonna be there, so like the audience can't like reach out and touch the wrestlers and stuff like they usually do.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I guess it'd probably be a sneeze guard as well.
Just everyone in the audience would get sick, but because it's all reflected back into the audience.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, so it's wrestling so far. Oh, I started watching Americana 2019, I think. Or
Okay.
not Americana, Americarana.
Okay.
There's a wrestling outfit called Beyond Wrestling. I think they're out of Boston.
All right.
They do really good stuff. They're really small wrestling promotion. Well, they're probably big for an indie promotion. And so their big event every year is American Rana, and I've been watching that on independent wrestling TV. And I'm watching the last match, which is an hour long, and it's a pretty good match between Joey Janela and David Starr,
Huh.
who is one of the most interesting wrestlers in all of wrestling.
What's his hook?
Well, he's Jewish, as you can, because Star David and just calls himself David Starr.
I thought that when you said the name, but I figured, well, that's a little too on the head. Oh, okay.
He's very outspoken about stuff, and he has a brand called Independent, where it's like you take the word independent and they kind of like make it into a 3-layer column. And he doesn't want to, like he doesn't want to sign with any big people. Like he's about making, like basically getting rights for independent wrestlers as much as he can. He's very outspoken about that stuff, and making like at indie shows that water is available for wrestlers, shit like that. Because I mean, wrestlers are used to like just getting fucked over for their entire lives. So this guy is trying to fight the good fight, and I'm not sure if it's a good fight, but yeah, it's he's a really interesting guy. He's a good wrestler. He does a lot of comedy stuff, and he's like he's a great heel because basically he makes himself really easily hateable, but like but there's some behind the scenes stuff. He seems like a good guy. I mean, combative, so you're gonna know his opinion whether you want to or not. But yeah, it was an Iron Man match. So basically, it has to go an hour, and you score by pinfalls. As whoever has the most pinfalls or submissions by the end of the match wins. Although this was a no holds bar Iron Man match, so you could like get tables and chairs and sticks and just beat the shit out of each other with it. Nice. So they do that for an hour. Bleeding all over.
Ring for an hour would be exhausting.
Yeah. Now taking chair shots and doing table hits and and I haven't even finished watching the match yet, but it's pretty good. There's the Orange Cassidy match in there that was really good, where he kept like magically having sunglasses all over the place.
Nice.
Because like one of his things, one of his moves is like to piss people off is he'll just like stop and like put sunglasses on, and then people rip his sunglasses off and break it, and then he always just has like another pair of sunglasses.
Oh god.
There was like one point where like the guy broke like his fourth pair of sunglasses, and then he pulls another pair like out of the other guy's pants.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's the wrestling I've been watching.
All right, so we watched a movie this week. We watched
Altered Carbon Re-Sleeved.
Altered, I'm having trouble with this. Altered Carbon Re-Sleeved, which was an animation.
Yeah.
And kind of
Now, is this complete side story, or does this have hooks into like season 2?
I don't know. I didn't.
I'm pretty sure this is after season 1.
Yeah.
But I just don't know where it sits in relation to season. Because he mentions the part like he's doing this stuff to get like essentially to get safe passes to Harlan's World, maybe. Yeah. And I know in season 2 he goes to Harlan's World, so I kind of assume this is in between season 1 and 2, but I actually don't know.
Yeah, this was one of those kind of weird things where it's like, oh, this is actually a perfect venue for this. Instead of like live action.
Yeah.
This was like cool in the way it visualized it. But story seemed kind of a little predictable to me.
Oh yeah.
The
movie is only like an hour and 15 minutes long, so it kind of gets in and goes out. So
yeah, and it's also a 20-minute fight scene at the end of it. Yeah. So it goes on forever.
The animation's okay. There's some part where like some parts when like people are still, like it looks like Super Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
Which I'd say like it looks good, but then like the character will turn their head, and then suddenly it kind of looks bad. It looks like 3 polygons that are barely shaded, like it's a PlayStation 1 game. But the action's done really well because it's a computer generated animation. They do a lot of complicated action, but it's all readable.
Yeah.
So they did that. They do a really good job with that. And then I'm not sure if this was originally meant in English because the mouth seemed to be out of sequence with the English translation. Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know this was not done in English originally.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Because it wasn't. I was looking up. Because I thought that the guy who wrote the books had something to do with this, but he didn't.
Richard K. Morgan.
Yeah, Richard K. Morgan. I thought he might have written the story or the screenplay or whatever. It's all Japanese.
Oh, okay. Huh. I mean, did like Netflix commission this or something?
I'm assuming so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did the Hotel AI, is the voice of that the guy from the show? who plays Edgar Allan Poe?
I don't know. He seemed like a similar character.
Yeah, I just thought his voice was the same, but I didn't. Because I always a different character, so I wonder if they use the guy who did the voice of the Edgar Allan Poe guy, if they use the same actor there. I can look it up.
Yeah, look it up. I don't know. What was the guy who voiced the? Poe. Who was he? I don't know. You're gonna find it, so I'll
Yeah.
just talk.
Well, first I'm looking for the guy, the hotel guy on the normal one,
Oh, okay.
which I am not seeing it. Oh, there is Poe. Okay,
What's his name?
Chris Connor.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Same guy.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Good. Well, did the English version, yeah.
Yeah, he did the English version.
I guess he's like a fan favorite character.
Yeah.
And that's weird because if you're a fan of the books, like that character didn't exist. The hotel was called the Hendrix, and it modeled itself after Jimi Hendrix, but I guess they couldn't obtain the rights to him.
Yeah.
So they made it Edgar Allan Poe because there's no rights to him. So that's how that worked. And it actually worked out pretty good because Poe is actually a likable character, where the Hendrix was just kind of an aloof guy who was really good at playing guitar and didn't want to be destroyed. That's, there's huge differences between the books and the stuff here. So,
But yeah, this story is
this is a side story written and produced in Japan. So.
yeah, it's more the it's not necessarily like a sprawling thing. It's more about this inner gang rivalry between these different. They are Japanese gangs, right?
Yeah, they're yakuza or something like
Yeah,
that. The yaks, as they call it. Well, they use that term in the books. I don't know. I think they use them in the TV series too.
But yeah, there's not a tribe, but a gang who they pride themselves on. When they want to transfer power, the old boss has to kill himself. So there's real death. There's real things involved.
Yeah.
But on the verge of this ceremony going on, shit starts going haywire, and then it revolves around a tattoo artist.
Yes. Because they have all the elaborate tattoos, and she's the one who carries out the ritual where they supposedly erase the guy's consciousness,
Yeah.
and his son or his heir takes over. But you find out the twist is it's always been the original guy,
He's never killed himself.
which is the guy who brought Kovac back. Was the who was that?
It was the son of the
Yeah, the
original
son.
guy.
Yeah, the son of the original guy, and that's why
He's part of the Tascan gang or something like that.
Yeah, it was a different gang, yeah. But he's a very old man in this.
Yeah.
It's like then you come to find out, it's like, oh, that's that guy's son. But that's the world of Altered Carbon. That's no one can really who they are. That's why it's interesting that there's still ethnic gangs in this when you could technically be re-sleeved in any ethnicity or gender. And it's like, how do they hold on to these traditions? It makes for a compelling story. Because this is the first time I've seen Takashi Kovac in live action portrayed as in an Asian sleeve.
Well, he's in the flashbacks in the series.
Yeah, in the flashbacks they show him, but he's never really like the main character.
Yeah.
Different, and like in the Altered Carbon, when he double sleeved, one of the guys was an Asian assassin, the guy that killed himself at the end. But that again, completely different story from the Altered Carbon TV series. Because actually, I think the book was probably be a little too dark. As dark as Altered Carbon was as a TV show, it was extremely dark. So yeah. But this was satisfying. It was like a small morsel
Yeah.
and I think this is probably, again, after seeing this, I think with a little better writing and different animation, it's like this is probably a more appropriate venue for this series.
Yeah.
Because it makes more, because crazy stuff goes on in the live action stuff, But you know, the real crazy like fighting and stuff that they can pull off in animation, it's like that's probably closer to what the books felt like to me.
Yeah.
It's like this guy's, you know, kind of in the TV show, it's like this guy's a guy with a good roundhouse who can take a lot of action. But in, you know, in the books, he's like this super soldier that, you know, is sometimes he's in custom engineered combat body
Combat sleeve.
combat sleeves. And, so
Which he was here too. It was a combat sleeve that had a nicotine addiction, so he had to keep smoking.
yeah,
Even in virtual reality.
they program it in. But yeah, so this was
Yeah, I was surprised that like it came out this year in like conjunction with season 2. I thought that was kind of weird, but
yeah, it's kind of it kind of gets a mixed bag of reviews.
I guess season 2 was in production for like 2 years, so that sort of
Yeah.
makes sense. They probably finished this before the season 2 was even finished.
Right. Yeah, and this is sort of divisively reviewed, so
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
Well, I guess I mean, I guess I had low expectations, so like I was fine with what it was. I wasn't expecting like high art or anything, but I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it's probably it's like it's a 50-50 movie. And there's not like a lot of like in-depth reviews. There's a lot of fan reviews and there's some you know, professional review guys, but they you know, I guess a lot of it is when some of the reviews I read about it is like, well, you're either a fan of the books and the series or you're not. Because if you're not into it, you're not going to be into this. You're definitely not going to be into this because this just goes down some wild roads and it's really quick too. It's so I was watching it, was like, oh, this is I was expecting like a part B after he killed the boss in the end. It's like, okay, so what's going to happen with everyone? And we're going to have like another hour of like, oh, this is how I get to Harlan's world and get off
Yeah, well,
that.
they do imply another mission to be had, so
Yeah.
we'll see if they do anything.
If it's successful, which on Netflix doesn't matter. It's just kind of like,
Yeah.
I like this. We'll give me another 50
Well, I mean,
minutes.
like I said, they can probably kick out another one of these faster than they can kick out another season of Altered Carbon. So
Yeah. I don't know where they're going to go with Altered Carbon. They've strayed so far from the source material in season 2. It's like, okay, well, do we just going to do our own Altered Carbon now? Netflix's Altered Carbon. Just using names.
yeah, they're gonna create another series called Woken Furies. It'll have nothing to do with Altered Carbon, but it'll be the
No.
same story and the same character.
Same technology, same universe. Totally different story. They've never touched on the aliens, and you know, in either this or the TV series.
Did they when they were explaining the stacks thing? They never brought that up?
No, because remember in the way the series redid it was, what's her name?
Quellcrest Falconer.
Yeah, she's the one who invented that.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
And
right.
it's like, oh, okay, that's that's interesting.
I guess they just didn't want to get that weird with it.
I mean, it's a nightmare concept.
Yeah.
It's like you can never die, but the world still sucks. Be poor, and you could be a slave, and you could, you know, you could end up in, and you have no identity anymore. It's just
Or you
whatever.
can run out of money and you'll just be in a digital prison for 100
Eternity.
years.
You can be tortured for hours there, and it could take 30 seconds in real time.
get brought back to life by your elderly grandchild.
Come back to life as a gangster and go play with your Mexican family. That was weird. Like, oh, okay.
Did you finish Westworld?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay.
Finish that. Yeah, that was. I mean, this Westworld.
I mean, this was better than season 2, but still a lot of weird stuff that seemed to go nowhere.
They're throwing shit in there, and well, they didn't have anything for some characters to do.
Well, like there's that stuff. There's Tessa Thompson's stuff is interesting at some point, and then loses all then loses all credibility, and then gets interesting, and then at the end she's just kind of there. It's like, what the fuck's happening with her? And then she's just completely a setup for next season.
Yeah.
That was weird. And then
The main character the next season.
yeah,
Because I think we've seen. I mean, everyone comes back in Westworld, but I think that this is probably the end of Dolores as a main character.
yeah.
That's fine. She had her arc, and then I think we're going to see a lot more Bernard and Maeve, and then we'll finally understand the weird post-credit scene in season 2. Like, we were introduced to that guy because he killed Ed Harris.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's the construct Man in Black that showed up thousands of years in the future or whenever in the post-credit scene in season 2. It's like, good tie-in. Yeah, good 15 seconds there, 15 seconds here. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the season, but I still like, there's a lot of like, I don't know where you're going with this, and I bet you think.
Yeah. I'm confused, and I think you are too.
Well, it's just like, I think they think they're making something really important, and it's just not as deep as I think they want us to believe it is.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell like a smart person really made this, and maybe I'm just not picking up on everything, but also just sometimes it feels stupid.
Season 1 was amazing.
Yeah.
Season 1 was great. There was a lot of subtle things in there. There was a lot of weirdness. Season 2, like, padded out a lot of background.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, well, season 3 is going to be the payoff, like the war between the machines and humanity. And it's like, well, it's more of a treatise on free will and
Yeah.
those is-ought debates that people have about humans don't have free will. We're just driven by organic, whatever.
I thought Aaron Paul was great. Everything he did, I liked, even if it was silly. Like that whole, what was that drug he took?
Oh, nostalgia.
Yeah, like that. The thing they did with that was like, it was an interesting idea, but like presented to us, it was pretty stupid. But I thought Aaron Paul carried it regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a weird thing for him to act through.
Yeah.
Did a good job.
I thought they did a good job of selling Dolores this season, because like I didn't buy any of her shit from second season. It's like, why would I root for her whatsoever? And here they did a good job selling her more. It's like, oh, this is why she's captivating and interesting.
Yeah. And she's not ultimately like just purely driven by evil, but she's screwed up. But it's also, she's a product of what made her. So
yeah.
Yeah, they did it. I mean, overall, this was more enjoyable than season 2. Because season 2 just became an ass beating of just weird timelines intersecting, and then again, it's another free will debate, and it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. We're getting the God debate and all that stuff. But can we have a story with people doing things, not just like unsolving mysteries that people in college have been debating in philosophy classes for 200 years? It's like, come on.
But I don't think this was like a very strong season for Maeve, because all her stuff was confusing.
Well,
well, her whole journey is that she needs to get to her daughter. That's a complete construct, and that's kind of like her interesting arc.
Yeah.
Is that she'll like, there's something, she's so dead set on getting her daughter back, who is something that's just completely created by humans. So like, I think from the outset, like as the observer, like, it was like, well, can't she just make another daughter? But no, but her daughter's also in some fairy tale computer land, computer heaven, where they pass through the gates or whatever. That shit didn't get explained at all this season, or followed up on.
No, it's just the MacGuffin, just the motivator. Well, Maeve's story when they tied it all together, because you find out like, the French guy didn't just create Rehoboam; he's like the servant of it now.
Yeah.
And so is Maeve, and so is that. So that's what they were doing with her.
Yeah.
But it just took too long to get there. By the end, you were like, okay, all the hosts are copies of Dolores except Maeve. And
well, then there's also stuff with Maeve where they make it seem like, oh, she's in danger, and then she just dies, and they bring her back unceremoniously. It's like, why would we never like sense danger from Maeve? Because they keep bringing her back, so that's a problem. We're like with Dolores, it's not just that easy for her to just come back. So there is stakes with everything she does.
Yeah.
And there is the interesting with her multiple copies where she just created copies of herself, which that's interesting and fucked up because like how her personalities are splitting amongst these different copies, and that's interesting. You know, and then you can see a correlation between like Maeve's story and then Tessa Thompson's character story, where like, you know, she grows to love this family that's not hers and now wants to get revenge for them dying, which that, you know, that's interesting. She's supposed to be Dolores, and now she's against Dolores.
Yeah. Dolores killed this basically destroyed her and destroyed this family she loved that she didn't care, that her real character didn't care about. The person she's replacing. And now she's like the good guy by a bad guy. I don't know. It's so weird.
But I think the one scene I thought was like probably the most, well, I guess not embarrassing, but the one that just didn't strike me. There's that part where the one guy, you know, the snivelly rich guy,
yeah,
who just has the glasses that can tell your future.
Yeah.
And he like looks at them and he's like, and he's saying like, you know, the one woman like saying like her brother will be in jail, and he says like, you're lucky he'll be dead in 20 years. And then she just gets sad. It's like, that described nothing. That gave no detail. Like, everyone's going to be dead in 20 years. Who gives a shit?
Say that about me, and I'd be, yeah, you probably 20 years would be, that's an outside curve at this point. Yeah. That's,
So, yeah, there's that point where, like, these two characters get really sad because this guy barely says anything about their prescribed future. Where it made way more sense with Aaron Paul, where like, you know, Dolores takes him out to a bridge and like, this is where you're gonna jump off and kill yourself, and you don't know if she's gonna force him to jump off and kill himself. And she's like, no, that's what the program can predict you're gonna do. So that's why you don't make any. That's why you don't get ahead in life, because the program already knows you're gonna kill yourself.
yeah.
It's like, oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting, but also predictable that like, oh, we're gonna make the world of the humans parallel to Westworld.
Yeah.
Where it's like you don't know you're living in a loop, but you're living in a long, weird human loop where a computer still knows exactly what's gonna happen, and are you gonna break that chain or not? And it's like, well, the only way to know for sure is to just destroy the whole system, and loose anarchy onto the world.
And I loved, and like, it doesn't explain it until probably like the last two episodes, but those interstitial of the Rehoboam, it's like the circle with like the black circle that's like the with like
Black Swan event circular chart. Yeah.
yeah, that's really cool. And like,
Yeah.
and you're like, what the fuck is, like, the whole season you're like, what the fuck is this? It's like, it's just a transition device, because it'll like, a little thing will spike will pop up and it's like Paris, France. It's like, okay.
That's a real thing.
Oh, it is? Okay.
The real Rehoboam uses that. The one in the basement of the Pentagon. No, I don't know. we don't have computers that can model the future, as far as I know. Because if we do, okay, something's you guys.
We picked the wrong
rail.
future.
Yeah, it's okay. You got to check your AI, reboot it, because it's obviously not like, if this is the way you think things are supposed to go. But that's interesting. Like I said, Westworld season 3, it was fun. Westworld season 1 is amazing. Can't say enough how cool that was. Everything else this is almost a victim of its own success. Like,
Yeah.
Even though it's like we're not like huge fans of season 2 and season 3 is okay, it's still better than 90% of the stuff that's on TV. So you're not wasting your time watching it.
It's better than the last season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Although the what was that episode where it's all in darkness and the big fight? That was a cool episode, but it didn't really lead to anything good.
Yeah, this was a season of stunning visuals, and it's like, yeah, I was wanting to see what if those combat robots do more.
Yeah,
Like the big square.
that's fucking frightening.
Yeah, it makes that
Because
weird,
it does,
like, sound.
yeah, but also like it doesn't have like weapons on it, so the only way it can do to you is just this large thing just gonna knock you around, which seems far more frightening than shooting you.
Yeah, just shoot me. Crush me with your weird L-shaped appendages. spin around. But so at least I mean, I guess we can assume now we know this is on Earth and it's not
Yeah.
far into the future.
Yeah.
'Cause there was all kinds of I remember Westworld season 1. It's like we don't even know what planet they're on.
Yeah.
Be 10,000 years in the future, you know, and then you're like, oh no, it's still all the same shitty people just flying cars.
Yeah, just kind of like season 2 just kind of made it into like, well, I mean it's Jurassic Park, but I mean it's fucking Westworld. It's a park, so yeah, that's what it is. But
And they never expanded on like why those Chinese soldiers were at the island and they got sent away. Remember that in season 2?
I just figured it was like somewhere in it was under the jurisdiction in the Chinese Sea somewhere or something like that.
Yeah, and because I thought it was like, oh, that's going to be in it. Well, where's that going? Oh, nowhere. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I remember the first season you had those giant wheel cranes where it's just a crane of wheels and it was like terraforming the land. It was like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So, like you just make Westworld like in a snap of a finger. It's like and there's like the weird like edges where it was like a hologram. It's like
Yeah.
are we in a dome? Like that's where you got the stuff where it's like, are we on Earth? Like, but then they just ditched
and
all that.
That's part of the park. And then you find out like there's all kinds of worlds. Like there's Samurai World and there's India World and then there's Nazi World, or they called it War World, but
Yeah.
it's and those big excavating machines those are based on that's real equipment.
Yeah.
They were just kind of fancifully redrawn for the show, but those are actually
Well, they moved around like way faster than what those things
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, they don't move that quick in real life. That's strip mining equipment.
Yeah.
They're that big.
Yeah.
A couple guys driving, which seems nuts. I'd just be like on the joysticks, like, I hope we're doing the right thing.
We're moving Earth. Oh shit.
Tons and tons of Earth. Those are made in Germany, I believe. I
Oh
forget.
really?
Yeah, there's a model kit you can buy for them from Revel. It's like this big, and it's like 1/2000 scale, but it still takes up your whole desk.
How do you ship that thing? Just
I
lots and lots of pieces.
I don't think we use them here.
I thought we had some in America. They only. Where are they?
In Germany.
Just in Germany? Okay.
Well, in parts of Europe. Well, Germany's mostly coal.
Yeah.
Germany's kind of like the East Coast and the central part of America, where it's just built on a bed of coal, and so they really like mine the shit out of it there. I mean, I'm sure we have equivalents to that here. We probably just didn't do them that big.
So I thought I saw pictures of like that thing like abandoned in like Montana or some shit like that.
Yeah, no, I think that was
Where like they built this thing in some mining town and then it went under and just like there's no way to move it anywhere, so it just sits there gathering dust and falling apart.
Yeah, I don't even know if they still use them. I mean, I think Germany does because they're getting rid of all their nuclear power, so they're gonna need something, or they're just gonna fart into a tube and power their country. I don't know. But so that's Westworld season 3. Check it out. It's here.
It's all out there, so
It's all out there.
don't have to wait a week. Just go right in the next episode.
That's what I did. That's why I was never like current, because I always wanted to watch like 3 of those in a row.
Yeah.
It's like I have my own little Westworld movie.
What's the next big HBO show coming out?
Plot Against America?
That's already out, isn't it?
Is it? I thought it hadn't come out yet.
Yeah, I thought it was out. I haven't watched it, but
It's a kind of interesting, weird. It's an alternate history type story.
yeah, it's done by like the Wire guys, isn't it?
I don't know. I know it was a book by Philip Roth
Yeah.
because I read it. It came out like in the early 2000s. Let's see who's making the movie or the miniseries actually. Oh, March 16th, 2020. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I got to watch that. David Simon and Ed Burns.
Yep, that's the Wire guys.
Oh, okay. Well, that should be good then.
I don't know. I hated Treme, but
Well, I mean, the story's The book's interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a slow burn. It's not like the Nazis or just conquer America or something, but it's like, what if a really indifferent guy or someone who was, you gotta remember, like being anti-Semitic back then was sort of publicly acceptable in a way.
Yeah.
You could be vaguely anti-Semitic as a politician, and so Charles Lindbergh becomes president, and it kind of takes the country in a different, like instead of rounding up Jews and killing them here, we send them to re-education camps to teach them why. It's like, well, culturally, you people are kind of wrong, and you're not really Americans unless you act this way. And so it's a kind of a story of mothers and fathers like watching their kids come back from the American re-education camps, kind of like, I hate myself and I hate you. Because there is a war. I forget the whole thing, but there is a war that's fought because the what was it? Changes points of view a lot. And but yeah.
Oh, I know the next big HBO show.
What's that?
Perry Mason.
Oh, the one with the guy from the Americans?
Yeah. That doesn't look good.
It might be. I don't know.
And wasn't Perry Mason a lawyer?
Yeah.
So why is he a private investigator in this?
Probably because it's more exciting.
I guess.
I think it's yeah, I think they sexed it up. It's also set in the 30s.
Well, I know they came out with a. So, do you ever remember Penny Dreadful? It was it's a Showtime show. I don't know if you have Showtime or not. I don't. But there's a series called Penny Dreadful, and it was pretty good. And they have this new sort of offshoot of it called Penny Dreadful, like City of Angels, where it's in Los Angeles, and like it looks really interesting. But I haven't watched it.
Oh, okay.
So I think I'd rather watch that than the Perry Mason show.
Depends on what the story is about. Let's see. Here it is. Synopsis. 1932 Los Angeles. Oh, it's the origin story of Perry Mason.
Oh, okay.
So that's why he's detective, probably because he was a cop or a private eye before he was a lawyer.
Huh.
Maybe, I'm guessing. Set during the Great Depression. What else does it say about? Oh, nothing. It's just a little synopsis. We'll see.
Yeah, I just watched the trailer for it, and I didn't get anything out of it.
Better. It's almost $100 million, so better something. I don't know how many episodes it is.
It's probably like 10 or something like that.
I don't know. There's really not a lot of information here.
Generally, HBO doesn't do, it's like 10 or 12 episodes for any of their shows.
Yeah. Let's see. The guys who are the showrunners on this are the people who were showrunners on Weeds and Friday Night Lights, the TV series. Friday Night Lights, the TV series, as I remember, was pretty good.
I know people like it. I've just never seen it. Every time somebody tries to convince me I should watch that show, I'm like, yeah, but it's high school football. Isn't it stupid? And you hear people talk about it, and it's like very over dramatic. It's like, that sounds silly. I don't want to watch that, but it has lots of fans. So some point I'll watch it.
It's not bad. I watched
Maybe I'll watch the movie.
the movie's really good with Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
I mean, it's depressing as hell, but it's good because you realize these kids in this town, it's like they're not really kids anymore. They're just football machines, and the what's.
And the problem, Weeds had had a great first 3 seasons, and the rest of that show kind of sucked.
Yeah,
So
don't remember that one.
yeah, it's the
Remember
one.
hearing about
Yeah, she's like the housewife that sells weed to keep her family afloat.
Yeah, I heard about it, but don't remember much about it.
It's a comedy show, so.
Oh, that's why I didn't watch it. Only watched bleak things.
Well, it gets kind of bleak, but.
Yeah. That's why I quit watching Shameless.
Yeah.
It's like, this is fucking depressing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it seems like as you progress through the seasons, you just feel like, oh, I can't wait for because all these people they're smart and ingenuitive, and like you just want to see them like pull themselves out of this. But
Yeah.
that's not the point of the show. They're always
No.
going to fail.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you keep hoping that, like, oh yeah, they're gonna think their way through this, and they're gonna have just not even like huge success. They're just gonna have like a normal life.
Yeah.
It's like nope, not gonna happen. And yeah, after a while, you just get tired of that. It's like, well, this isn't fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because that's what's fun about like the first couple seasons. Like this family just kind of keeping together. Like they seem to be kind of happy. Like they're poor as shit. Everything sucks. Their dad's a drunk, and but like they're figuring it out with what they have.
Yeah,
And then but eventually everything falls apart. So.
well, the guy gets cancer and
Oh yeah, that was horrible.
find a way to like pay for it. And whoa.
But I also never saw the British version of it. That's based on, so I don't know how far that goes.
They probably did like a season and a half in 5 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they'll either do like they either did that or they did like 30 seasons of it.
Yeah.
It's like that's how British shows are. It's like one season or 30 seasons. There's no in between.
Don't they still have the longest running TV show in history?
Yeah, one of those soap operas is just something it's like an obligation by the BBC to put it out.
Yeah.
That's also a place where like, everybody who's anybody like goes through there or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everybody does a turn on White House Dove or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. But yeah. And then, I can't think of anything that's coming out, but
I thought Amazon was going to have like a big series coming out, like a new one, but I can't remember what it is.
I don't know. Well, they had that sequel to Homecoming.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I started watching the first episode, but I haven't gone through it yet.
I watched 3 episodes. It's like it doesn't get better.
Huh.
And it doesn't have that weird quirkiness that the first one did that kind of made it endearing and fun.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it's more straightforward and grim, and there's bad acting in it a lot,
Huh.
which doesn't make sense because the dialogue's well written, the story it propels itself along in kind of that way, but it just lost all the weirdness that made Homecoming season 1 kind of cool,
Yeah.
and it's become more of a diatribe, I guess.
Huh. That's unfortunate.
Maybe they felt they had to go that way. I don't know. There's a lot of things that are changing like that.
Well, it's still only like half-hour episodes, so at least you
Yeah,
can speed through it if you want
Yeah, when
to.
I say I watched 3 episodes, it's like I was invested an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch Fleabag. I keep hearing really good things about Fleabag, and I just never watch it.
Yeah, that's one I like to see it, and I'm like, should I? Nah, I don't feel like this.
I still.
Not in outer space again.
What's that?
So, well, what are the stupid shit I watch? It's like I'm gonna watch. Oh yeah, I watch District 9 4 times. It's like there's stuff I'll watch. It's like I remember that. I don't have to take a chance on that. I know I like it.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch the Marvelous Ms. Maisel like season 3, but I just haven't. And now season 4 is like almost out. I was like, oh fuck, am I ever gonna finish the show?
I am current on Bosch.
Oh yeah.
All the Bosch.
Oh yeah, the new season for that came out, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's kind of. It was something. It like blew this. It made the scale smaller, but it started off like it was going to be nuclear stuff, like there's nuclear terrorism or something, and then it just takes weird corkscrews, which kind of satisfying.
Huh.
But instead of becoming like a bigger thing, it actually became a really small thing, and so it was sort of interesting. I won't spoil it for you. It's
Okay.
worthwhile.
Yeah, I didn't get through season 5, so yeah, it's another one I'm behind on. I'll get through it eventually.
Yeah, I mean we got time. I mean, quarantine. I watched a lot of. Weird
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm almost jealous of that because I didn't get like 3 months off. Like I still had to
Yeah.
work the entire time. Like I get 3 days off every week, and I waste them all every time. Like I could be like doing something special, but no. But like, yeah, I always wished I wish I could have 3 months off and just, and promise myself like I'm going to better myself and do these things. And of course, I never would have, but I would have watched at least 13 more TV shows than I would have now.
I'm the only person I know because my wife and son had to work the whole time. I'm the only person I know that did it and like didn't take a huge financial hit, because when they did that like CARES Act or whatever, that was like everything was linear for me. Like there were no speed bumps. It was just like pay for 3 months. So I'm one of the lucky ones where that like the quarantine, other than it being weird and scary, and I thought, well, it's like, oh God, we're gonna be digging up our backyard to bury bodies and shit. Like I didn't know where it was going. Other than that, it was pretty tranquil for me because I didn't get ruined financially. I mean, not yet.
Yeah.
What's coming next, but as far as the actual event, like I just sort of floated. I mean, I just built models, stayed at home, I only had to go out and forage when I needed stuff, and I tried not to need a lot of stuff. I mean, I lost 8 pounds the first week I went back to work. Jesus, I was eating, because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
It's like, let's grill. Make, all kinds of steak because it's cheap.
I've been vaguely writing again, just like in bits and pieces, so that's good.
Yeah, that's always helpful.
Came up with well, there's a lot of influence behind it, but so I'm not sure if like I came up with this idea. It's like just me bashing together a lot of things.
Okay.
After watching Ad Astra and a bunch of other shit, I thought up this idea of this a world where a god is killed and the god is falling backwards on the planet, and it's not going, and it's like almost like in slow motion, so it's going to take 1,000 years for the god to completely destroy this world when it falls on it.
Okay.
And the people on the planet have 1,000 years to and you start off in like kind of like Lord of the Rings type stuff. And you start from Lord of the Rings and you have to get to a like a space program to get off the planet before the god falls on it.
Right.
But you also got magic and shit too. So that was my idea.
I remember somebody wrote a science fiction-y kind of novel in the 80s about like God died and we found out about it because his skull started orbiting around the world, but it was like the size of the moon. Kind of fucked up the tides at first, but then it sort of got into orbit and everything was okay. And like Coca-Cola paid a bunch of money to have the skull stabilized, and they would project Coke as it across the orbit of the skull of God. Because the whole thing was a farce.
Yeah.
But it was there were a few high points. I can't even think of what it was called, but I know I was reading it and I was like, this was like kind of atheist fan fiction type sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
These are 80s atheists writing cathartically about, the sarcasm around God. It was like a Monty Python thing about what if God died and like corporate America became the new God. And we'll take care of you. And he left us this legacy. And it was all, it all ended in doom because, humans are born faulty and they can't replace God, but I forget why God died. I don't know. It was a weird book.
Sounds very British. Is it by a British guy?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think because they used a lot of... I remember when I read it...
Seems kind of... what's that book? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes, very, very much. It wasn't a Richard Adams book, but it was very much in that style of like... Because what did they... Because a lot of it's set in America and England... But and it's kind of in the future, because like England was, instead of like post-empire, which is what they write about now, they were talking about post-totalitarianism. Like they thought like reenacting the Orwell books as a country would be a cool thing to do. People kind of got sick of the it was post-totalitarian England and like pseudo-fascist America, but these were actually what they were calling their political systems. It wasn't implied. It's like, no, this is because everyone's trying to brand themselves. Because the Russians were like, what did they call themselves? They were like Marxist capitalists or something. Like everyone had a weird brand name, and it was all kind of silly. But I was like 12 years old when I read it, and was like, "Oh, this is weird." Now, not so much. But all right, it's that time of the week again, folks. Times when we have to say goodbye. But we will be back next week. Come back strong. Talk about more great stuff. So this week for the American Greed Factory podcast, this is Nathan.
And this is Conlon. Goodbye, America.